Hello, everybody. Good evening, and it's women's football today, and we've got a special show tonight, and it's called the Manchester City Show, or the Man City Show, or the Man City Women's Show. Call it what you will. We're here to talk about Manchester City's women's team, and I've got, at the moment, 4 guests. We might have somebody else popping in later, and I'm sure you'll recognise everybody, but I'll go around and say hi to everybody. Jude, how you doing?
Hi, yeah, I'm good, thanks, Ray. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. We've got Jennie as well. How you doing, Jennie?
Hi, Ray. Good to see you.
We've got Jayne as well.
Hi, Ray. Good evening.
And last but not least, we've got Davros.
Hi, Ray. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, mate. Well, guys, someone's phone or something banging away there, Jennie. I'm sure it's you. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get into this. Despite some scintillating displays and the breaking and extending of records, I think Man City could well end the season feeling a little bit disappointed. The draw with Chelsea on Wednesday night means Chelsea will retain the title if they can win their last 2 league games. And we're here to take a look back at the season a little bit, even though there's a couple of games to go. See if City can still win the league. I mean, it's not out of our hands yet. And how we advance for next season. So I'm going to get cracking straight away. We'll look at that 2-2 result. I'm going to start moving things around so you can see different people, whoever's talking in the big screen. Man City 2, Chelsea 2. It was our chance to leapfrog Chelsea in the league and then have the title in our own hands. And try as we might, and as well as we played, we couldn't get over the line. And Chelsea have proven very difficult this season. So I'm going to I'll start with Jude and just ask you how you think that game went, and did we do ourselves justice?
It was a cracker of a game. You know, it's really enjoyed the game in a very scary, fingernail biting, sat on the edge of your sofa kind of way. Yeah, unfortunately, we just couldn't pull it off. I mean, you know, Chloe and Lauren, you know, they've had a cracking game. They've had a cracking season. You know, and it's basically come down to Katrin Berger's save. You know, you cannot take that save away from her, as much as it pains me. But yeah, absolutely cracking game. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Gutted at the end that we couldn't get it over the line. I'd actually predicted 3-2 on the result. So yeah, disappointed. But I think that the team worked really hard. It was a really good team performance. So, you know, we all say we fight till the end, and they did. You know, yeah. And just didn't go our way on the night.
Yeah, bring in Jayne as well to give us her little review of the game and how you think it went.
Yeah, similar to Jude, you know, I think the team played so well on the night, and it just shows you the fine margins that are involved when it comes down to us and Chelsea. You know, I think the game itself shows that we are the top 2 teams in the league this season. It was a fantastic game of football, but it's just those really fine margins. You can't make a mistake when you're playing against Chelsea because they will punish you for it, and they did. They did punish us for it. So it's just those kind of little things that probably in other games you would get away with and wouldn't have such a massive effect on the scoreline. But when you're playing Chelsea, everything counts.
Yeah. I'll bring in Jennie. Jennie's been covering most of our games this season. And what did you think of Wednesday night's 2-2 draw?
Pretty much the same as the others. It was a great game of football. It was a real good advertisement for women's football, I think, on a whole, especially for the WSL. That save was an amazing save right at the end. You know, just a couple of inches either way, and it could have gone in, but wasn't to be. So we just got to hope that they do drop after playing in the Champions League tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that. So let's see if we've got Peter in as well. I think we've got Peter coming in. I'll get Dave on and get his opinion on the game before I get Peter in.
The game the other night, the Chelsea game, I think pretty much agree with what the guys have already said. Yeah, we gave it everything we had. We said that myself and Jayne at half time said, you know, when we were losing, if we can get the equaliser in the first 20 minutes or so, and we get to say the 70th minute level, and then really go for it, which is pretty much what happened. We scored like 75th minute, I think. Then you're just waiting for that one chance, and we got the chance, and as Jude said, world-class save, world-class. Match-winning save, possibly title-winning save. We'll wait and see how the last two games go. But the top two sides by a long way.
Yeah, I'll bring in Peter with us now. How you doing, Peter?
Yeah, less fraught now I'm in, Ray. Sorry about that.
It's all right. It's all right. We all of us have IT problems from time to time. We're just talking about that 2-2, Peter. Just give a quick reflection on the 2-2 draw with Chelsea midweek.
Yeah. I thought we were unlucky, weren't we, at the end? The last, 3 or 4 games I've seen us play against Chelsea, I still think it's down to game management, personally. I thought there's been a couple of times when we've been better than Chelsea, gone in front and not seen the game out. It wasn't the same on Tuesday, I didn't think. But I'd like to see us be stronger mentally when we play Chelsea. That's the one thing I took away from that game. They couldn't have given any more on the field, that is for sure. Yeah,
I mean, we did, we are in a record-breaking season. I think it's the most wins we've ever had in a season, probably because we've possibly played the most games this season. But the most goals overall, the most goals in the league, the most wins. And towards the end of the season, we've gone on a really good run and looked very, very good. But also, we've had that Champions League exit. We lost to Barcelona 3-0 at their place. And that last goal, that third goal near the end, I think that was one that did for us. We couldn't bring it back to Manchester close enough to give us a proper chance. I want to go around the houses again and ask everybody about that Champions League result, because obviously, if you're looking at our season, you think the two biggest competitions are going to be the Women's Super League and the Champions League, with all due respect to the other competitions and the other teams playing in them. And it was disappointing to go out to Barcelona. So I'll start with Jude again and just ask you, how you thought we performed overall on in the tie over the two legs.
Well, let's use the football. It was certainly a game of two halves, wasn't it? So, the first leg, really, really disappointed. I thought it was awful. Barca just completely outplayed us, and fair play to Barca. Second leg, I don't know. It's just like a switch had been flicked. It was a cracking game to watch. It's just so sad that the fans aren't allowed in the stadiums yet to watch it, because the atmosphere in there would have been electric. So we had Janine and Sam scored. We won 2-1. So I think, is that the only team to have beaten Barcelona this season? I think
for a long time.
So we'll take that. For me, it had reminiscences of the first time we played Lyon in the Champions League. We were just outclassed in the first leg, and we beat them in the second leg, but overall couldn't pull it off. So, fair play to Barca. They've been amazing this season, and I'd tip them to maybe go and win it.
Yeah, bring in Jayne. Jayne, at any point in that side, did you think we had a chance?
Like you said, that third goal in the first leg was a real killer. If we could have come away from that with just the 2 goals that we were looking to get back, we got the goal so early in the second leg, we could have made a real push for it. I mean, we still did. The second leg, I thought we played really well. Maybe we just gave them a bit too much respect in that first game and let them play their game too much instead of us playing the game that we know and we can play. But yeah, I mean, before kickoff, I wasn't very hopeful. I thought, it's a big ask to get 3 goals. When we got that nice early goal, it did get me hopes up again, but unfortunately, wasn't to be.
Yep. Bring in Jennie. Where's Jennie? Bring in Jennie. Jennie, do you think we were well outclassed by Barcelona, or were we? Did we at least after the second leg, we showed what we can do. But were we overall way behind Barcelona?
No, I think I was just thinking the same as what Jayne said, really, about I think we showed them a little bit too much respect and we let them play their game instead of just concentrating on our own game. I think had we have done that, we may have been a little bit closer. We might still have lost in Barcelona, but we might have been closer for that second leg, because we know we can do it. We know we can beat them because we beat them at the academy. So I think it's just getting that mentality of not giving them the ball to play their game, but to play our game and, carry on like that.
Yeah. And Davros, Dave, do you agree that we showed them too much respect and we kind of threw it away at the death in that first leg?
I think possibly we did show them a bit too much respect. I mean, let's not take anything away from them. They're a very good side, Barcelona, and they played very well in that first leg on the day as well. But modern European football, you've got to score away goals. You've got to get that away goal. So if you get beat 2-1, 3-1, you've got an away goal, and it gives you a shout. If you can put together some strong performance in the second leg at home, it just gives you that little bit of extra, because that second leg we played so well, we got the early goal, but the minute they scored, they've got an away goal, we're pretty much out of the tie because we didn't score over there. So whether it be men's football, women's football, I think in modern European football, you've got to look to score away from home, and we didn't. We missed a penalty as well. So, but take nothing away from Barcelona. I think Jude's got a point. I think they could well go and win it. They're a very, very good side. So, it's not easy to go over there and beat them. I mean, it wasn't in Barcelona, no, but they're not an easy side to go and beat. So for us to beat them in the second leg was a feather in our cap, and that's what I wanted us to do at the time, put a great performance in for the second leg, so that going out, which we probably were always going to do after the first leg, didn't affect us going forward in the league games that followed.
Yeah, we carried on. We carried on winning. Bring in Peter. I mean, I know we talked at the time, Peter, about game management. Is Peter frozen? I think Peter's frozen. We were going to talk about game management because we talked about it at the time. Let's hope he's back. So let's get Peter back. He's coming back. Give him a chance. Here we go. Peter's back. Hey, Peter, glad to have you back. We were just talking about game management. I know after that first leg, we talked about game management and the fact that we didn't give it away, but we allowed them to score that third goal, and we didn't take a really good chance from the penalty spot. So how much is the mental side of things and managing games? How vital is it to getting through ties like this? That's for you, Peter.
Yeah, I think absolutely crucial. There's a point I was going to make. You score that penalty, it's a totally different game. They've got something to hang on to. 3-1 is a hugely different score than 3-0. The other thing I'd say is, absolutely, Ray. If I'm on the pitch and we're getting beat 2-0, we have to come off with that as the absolute list. That is the list we're on the pitch with. We stand, we go 2-0. It can't go beyond that. Because the number of ties that come back from 3-0, are tiny. So people on the pitch, and we've got enough experience. We've got internationals on the pitch. That would have been with this. Something about man as well, isn't there? We seem to miss big games. Are endless almost. So that is something I want to sort out. But I
think we lost him again. Don't worry, he'll come back. Yeah, hopefully. We've got Renza in from Northern Ireland, but you're really happy at the moment. Greetings from Northern Ireland, says Renza. And Renza also says City have shown over the years that they do have the ability to beat the top teams. They've shown this after beating Lyon a few years ago. And it's true. We do have the ability there. Let's move on to. I know it's 2 games to go, but in the season. But let's have a little and an FA Cup game, hopefully. But let's have a little review of the season. In short, for me, is I think we had a slow start. Obviously, a lot of new players, 5 new players signed in the summer with, let me get them all right. We had Sam Mewis from America, Rose Lavelle from America. We had Chloe Kelly came from Everton, and Alex Greenwood and Lucy Bronze from Lyon. And in January, we got Abby Dahlkemper from America as well. But I thought it was a slow start to the season. New manager as well. So Gary Taylor, everybody had to kind of gel and get used to each other. And with that number of new players, it's not going to be so straightforward. Took us a few games to get into our stride, and then we've gone on a pretty good run. And we've only really struggled of late against that Barcelona and against our nemesis, who are Chelsea, who I think this season have beat us in the Community Shield, they beat us in the Conti Cup, and I think they beat us at their place, and we've drawn with them up in Manchester. But let's go around again and ask people. In fact, I'll put this as open so everybody can just join in. So everybody's up there. Let's bring Peter back as well. Just give me a second. He is there. So guys, I mean, you can just you don't have to form an orderly queue here. Just jump in. I mean, how do you think our season's been overall? From start to finish.
I
Well,
was going to say, I think it's been a decent season. Like you say, I think those early stages with all those new players that we had coming in, and, the players are still getting used to Gareth and his management style and what he wants from the team and things. So I think we'll probably look back and say, that draw against Brighton early on in the season is something that had a real effect on where we're probably going to finish in the title race. But yeah, I mean, a lot of new players, new manager coming in. It's kind of understandable why we had that slower start, but it's just a shame. Yeah,
I agree.
I think we've been good enough that, in other seasons, as you said, Ray, the points tally we've got would have won us the league. It's just that City and Chelsea have garnered so many points this season that we're a little bit, unlucky to not be top of the league, because Chelsea have had such good form as well. We've only lost one game in the WSL, and that was to Chelsea. We've had a couple of bad draws, like Jayne mentions Brighton. I can think of Reading away was a game we dominated, and we won, and we didn't win. But equally, we've snatched a few games in the last minute as well. So that swings and roundabouts. That happens over a season. The head-to-head meetings with Chelsea, yes, we weren't very good at their place. We were excellent the other night. The Conti Cup, we had half a team out, and we very nearly beat them. They equalised with a worldie in the last minute, and then just had a bit too much for us from the bench in extra time. So toe-to-toe, I think we've gone quite well with Chelsea twice. Maybe not the other 2 times. The first time, the Community Shield, as Jayne says, the players were all very new, settling in, new manager, and then, probably the game at Kings Meadow, we didn't really deserve anything out of. They were the better side on the day. But other than that, the levels have been really, really consistent and good. And high, we've scored. I think we've scored 98 goals so far, which is some going. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the attack. I mean, we've talked about the Barcelona game there. I mean, let's highlight people like Lauren Hemp and Chloe Kelly. I mean, they were tearing into a world-class side there against Barcelona and worrying them, especially in that second leg. The same the other night against Chelsea, another world-class side. So we've certainly got nothing to worry about going forward, scoring goals. And also, the defence has done well overall. It's just that we've come up against, Chelsea equally as good this season. Well, slightly better, obviously, they're above us. And these things are fine margins, as you said before when we were talking about the save.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We've drawn too many games against mid-table teams like Brighton, like Reading, like Man United. And we really shouldn't be drawing games, some of those. Like the one at United when we were winning 2-0. And we let them back in the game. I thought at least you'd laugh at my mid-table Man United joke there, but anyway, that's not going down well.
It goes out there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We just thought you were being serious because they are mid-table.
Was it 11 points behind us? So they're miles away. And let's put it into perspective. Halfway through the season, they were talking about winning the whole thing when they were sat on top of the table, and they seem to have forgotten that. You don't get the prize at Christmas. You get it at the end of the season. You get it in May. That's when the prizes are dished out. You don't get prize for 8 good games.
No, it's a squad game now as well with the injuries and stuff that you pick up. You know, we've all had our injuries, and you've got to cover them and keep the quality. You've got to cover those injuries, losing top players. We've had to lose our captain. Chelsea lost their captain the other day. You've got to cover those. The top sides have got to cover those misses, those losses, and carry on. And that's what Chelsea have done this season.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said earlier, Chelsea are our domestic nemesis, aren't they? Because they beat us in the Community Shield, and they look a lot better than us, I think, in that game. We were unlucky as well to lose Lauren Hemp. And I think that's affected us as well, because we lost a player that was so good last season. And then we've got all the new players as well. And it would have been nice to have Lauren at the start of the season, because we've seen when she's come back, she's been absolutely phenomenal. And people are even whispering that, you know, she's going to be in the team of the season, the Women's Super League team of the season. And she's only played half a season. I mean, she's been that good. And to have her at the start, maybe she could have opened a few doors against Brighton or Reading to help us through there. Move on then. I want to look at our American players, because obviously the football or soccer in America is big news, and the women's game in the Women's Super League here is big news in America because of all the influx of all the American stars at United, at City, and elsewhere. So let's start with Jude, and we'll start with Sam Mewis, because she was the first one to start playing for us. How do you think Sam's done this season?
I think she's had a cracking season. It's been like she's played with us for a few years. She just slotted straight into that midfield, and yeah, I'm really happy with what she's brought to the team. She's strong. She's well, we call her the Tower of Power, don't we? So I think that kind of says it all. Assisting, scoring, just bossing the midfield, basically. So yeah, really happy. I think I just hope that she'll extend for another season, because obviously we're living in unprecedented times. Would these stars have come over to the UK had we not been in a COVID situation? We don't know, but they are. But it would just be great to be able to be in the stand and actually watch them play. And we're at risk of that not happening if they don't extend for another season, which would be really, really disappointing.
Yeah. Bring Jayne in. Do you think Sam's been our best player and the league's best player this season?
I think she's had a really good season, especially coming into a league that she's not played in before. So, it can take a bit of time to get up to speed with what's going on and how you play in a particular league, because it is different. So I think first half of the season especially, I think she had a fantastic season.
Yeah.
Really powerful, really strong, really effective in the midfield, really positive play. I think possibly, she got injured and then maybe took a couple of games to get back to kind of full pell a little bit, which, happens when you've had an injury. It takes a little bit of time to come back from. But I think she's had a really good season, especially considering, like Jude says, it's the first season in the league that she's had. So I would love to see the extension to the contract, and then see kind of, once she's settled into the league, imagine how amazing she could be then.
Yeah. Jennie, were you surprised, Jennie, to see Sam Mewis? I mean, she hit the ground running. She turned up and she was immediately bossing the midfield, and she was a star from the get-go.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised, because I thought, like everybody, it would take a while for them to settle in and get used to the English way of playing, because it's completely different leagues. And she did hit the ground running. She was scoring goals, and like you say, she was bossing the midfield. And I just like her. I'm hoping she's going to extend as well, because I'd just love to be able to go and watch her in the academy.
Oh, absolutely. I missed that as well. And Dave, obviously we had Rose Lavelle, another American World Cup winner, superstar, and there's this, and she's not obviously hit the same heights as Sam. She's not played as much. She's had, I think, injury and COVID issues at the start, or when she arrived, she had to go into quarantine or self-isolation. So she missed, 10 days or 2 weeks with the team. And she's, I think it's fair to say she struggled to hold down a place, and she hasn't held down a place. And then we see her play for America, for the US women's national team, and she's been awesome, scoring goals, been so creative, and been dominant. And then we get the American fans saying, "What's going on? You know, doesn't Garen Taylor know what he's doing?" But can you try and pinpoint what's held Rose back for Man City this season?
Well, it's difficult because, as you say, when the guy said there, these players come in from foreign leagues, and some players hit the ground running and some players don't. And we've seen it with Sam straight away, slotted in, seemed to suit her style of play. We also Rose in the World Cup. We've all seen her play for America. We know what a world-class player she is. I'm talking, right up there, top class. We've seen flashes it from City. Now, whether it's, as you say, that the hold-up and the issues that she's had, settling off, we don't know. We only see her on the pitch. So either, settling into a new country and in the midst of a pandemic, it wouldn't have been the normal way of settling into a team. All these things can add up and cause different issues with different types of people. So maybe that there was an element of that. Having said that, when she has played, I think she's played well, and she's slotted in, even if it's coming off the bench and stuff and playing well. And then she got an injury against, I think it was Everton away just before Christmas, where he started her, and she was having a great game. And then she got an injury and then had to miss a few games again. And then there was the American camp, and she missed out on playing for City because she was away with them. And it's been stop, start, stop, start. I really hope she decides to give it everything and stay for another year. And I think we'll see the best of her. I think we'll see more of Rose next season. And I think we'll see the best of Rose because she's a world-class player and we want to see her play for our club.
Yeah. I'll bring in Jude as well to talk about we'll move on to Abby Dahlkemper in a minute, but Rose Lavelle, do you share everybody's hope that she does stay on another season and shows what she can really do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I pretty much echo what everybody else has said. I was fortunate enough to be in France, and I watched the US play a couple of times, and she's just normally the best player on the pitch. She's amazing. So it's difficult because, like we're saying, she's picked up a couple of different injuries, so she's having to come back from injuries. I think it's twice now. The international travel, can't take away what jet lag and all that can do to your body. And also remember that the US women's national team, they don't always adhere to the FIFA international breaks.
Yeah.
They quite often have camps when everybody else is playing. So that doesn't help either. So it's sort of restricting her game time. But she's really good friends with Sam, good friends with Abby, who's obviously signed for 2.5 seasons. So it would be great if we can see her play. I'd love to see her stay for another year. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and we got bring Jennie in for Abby Dahlkemper. I mean, how impressed have you been with Abby? She's another one who seems to just turned up, been plonked down on the pitch, and she's fitted in pretty much straight away.
Yeah, well, I think she's had to be settling in because obviously with not having Steph playing, she's been the one that's sort of kept it together at the back a little bit more. Esme Morgan's been playing there at sometimes, and although she is very good, Esme, but she's not Steph Orton. She's not sort of that linchpin all the time. Alex Greenwood's another one that's played in the defence, in the central of defence, and she's done very well to slot in. So she has settled in quite quickly as well, I think, like Sam has.
Yeah. Oh, we're talking about centre backs then. With Abby, we've lost a few players this season, and we lost one more this week in Gemma Bonner. Part of me was not surprised to see her moving on because obviously she's not figured that much this season, especially in the latter part of the season because of injury, and also because when you look at it, we've got Steph, we've got Alex, we've got Abby. We've got Esme who will play, and we've got a lot of players who will play, top world-class players who will play in centre-back. And that's tough for Gemma to get game time. So, Jayne, do you want to say something about Gemma Bonner moving on, going to America?
Yeah. I mean, Gemma's been a fantastic player for us. She's played so well in those positions, like you say, really consistent and things like that. She's had a bit of a rough season this year, like you say, with the injuries and COVID and everything going on, and then another injury that she got after all that. So, she's had a bit of a kind of long break from the team. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully she can, I'm sure she'll walk straight into the side over there. She's a top-class player, so hopefully she can do great things from over there. But, yeah, shame to see her go. Like you say, I'm not massively surprised, given that she hasn't featured much just through injury and stuff. So it's not a huge surprise, but, yeah, good luck to her.
Yeah. Anybody else want to say anything about either Abby Dahlkemper or Gemma Bonner?
Well,
I'm gutted that she's gone.
What's that, Jennie? Oh, sorry.
I'm gutted that she's gone. I think she's probably one of the best centre halves not to have really featured in the England side. I think she's, that good. She could play in the England side, and she just doesn't. She doesn't seem to get picked. I know I've picked on it a couple of times during the season when she has been playing really well for us. So yeah, I'm gutted. Not surprised, but I'm gutted.
Yeah, bring in Dave as well.
Yeah, you're spot on about the.
Bring in Jude then.
Oh,
Jude.
sorry.
You started, so I'll let you finish.
Yeah, I mean, Jennie's spot on with regards to England. Normally when they look at the stats at the centre halves, last season Gemma's stats were just consistently higher than even Steph's, Millie Bright, Abby McManus, I think Leah Williamson, basically all the main centre halves that were featuring in England, and she just could not get in that squad. So I really feel for her. There's been so many injuries across our back line completely. We've had Aoife coming back as well, as well. But I generally hope that this gives her a shot to get back into the Lionesses squad, because she's too good not to be in it.
Yeah, I've got to agree actually. And she's just been unlucky that we've got Alex and Abby as centre backs, and when she's potentially had a chance, they two, both of them have had that spot for themselves. I'll bring in Dave, because I know Dave, you couldn't get a word in edgeways with Jennie and Jude.
I agree with the guy. I agree with the guys what you said about Gemma. She's a quality player, no doubt about it. As Jude said last season as well, she was consistently high. If you look at her Opta stats and stuff, she was up there with the best. And she's a bit unlucky with injuries and selection. But Gareth came when he signed Alex Greenwood. I was personally worried that was that going to be the end of Demi Stokes, because I'm a great Demi Stokes fan. But it doesn't seem to be the case with Gareth. I think he's pretty much stated that he sees Alex Greenwood as a centre half. He likes her in that position that he's been playing her, alongside, Steph or Abby since Christmas, obviously. So Demi signing a new contract was great, but the downside of it is then if he's going to play Demi at left back with Esme covering that position, Alex in the middle with Steph and Abby, whoever's, the other, that sort of like rotation. As Jude said, you've also got Aoife Mannion you can throw across the back four. Unfortunately for Gemma, she seems to have been the casualty of that system, in the manager's mind. And it is unfortunate because she's been a great player for City and done really, really well. A great player in the WSL. I mean, don't forget she was in that Liverpool setup when they won 2 titles. She's a very experienced player. So a little bit unlucky, but I'm sure she'll go over there and do well. And who's to say that she won't get back in the England side playing every week for a team, and getting good reviews and playing in every week for the first team. Her England career might be one of the reasons why she's feeling she's going to give it a good go over there.
Yeah,
I wish her well.
Yeah, I mean, when you mentioned that Liverpool title winning side back in 2012, and she was captain. So I think if I'm right, she was the youngest captain.
Youngest captain. I think they're the last team to retain it. I mean, Chelsea are looking like they might retain it this season, but Liverpool. That was a good Liverpool set. That was a good setup that Liverpool had at the time. Yeah. They've gone down since, unfortunately for them. But that was a good side, and Gemma was the mainstay of that side. I remember when I watching that team and Gemma being in that team, and I was very pleased when we signed her. But we wish her well. I hope she does really well, and certainly her England days might not be over.
Yeah, I hope she's still got a long future. She's, by no means old. She's only 29, so she's still got a good few years left, and hopefully she can hit the heights of previous times. I'm going to move this on to. I've got to mention this because it's not all meant to be doom and gloom. Oh, we got beat in this, we got lost in that, and Chelsea are going to win this, and we got because we can't forget we actually did win sort of a trophy this season. Well, we did win it this season. We won the FA Cup. Even though it was last season's FA Cup, we finished the tournament this season and we won it. So it's not as if it's all doom and gloom. I just want to throw that little ray of light in because there's not many competitions to win. There's only domestically. You've only got 3 trophies that you can win. So we've won one of them, even though it was last season's, and we're still in this season's, which will finish next season, which is all a bit odd. But my final question is going to be: what do we need to challenge? What do we need to improve upon to challenge in the 2 main competitions? Let's say the Women's Super League and the Champions League next season. Do we need Chelsea to collapse, or I would rather we improve to get ahead of them. So how can we improve to get ahead of Chelsea domestically and progress further in the Champions League? And I'll start with Jude.
Oh, it's always me. We need another striker.
Yeah.
We didn't replace Paulina Bremer when she left. And I know we're playing slightly differently now, and we're playing under a different manager, but quite often you'd have Ellen and Paulina, or sometimes you'd have Janine up there. And they were just banging goals in for fun. And that was one of the things I got a little bit frustrated watching the Chelsea game the other night. It was just like we were passing across the box and backwards and forwards, side to side. And it's like, somebody have a shot. Test we know she's a great keeper, Berger, but test the keeper. And we just. Everybody keeps saying it. We need to be more clinical in front of goal, and we do. So for me, definitely need a new striker. Sorry, another striker.
Have you got your eye on anybody?
Well, I suppose if you go with youth, you'd want to look at somebody like I always get her name wrong. Ebony Salmon. Yeah. She's great. She certainly fits into the City way of developing youth. As you could see a front 3 with Lauren and Ebony and Kelly. That would be quite special. Maybe even somebody like a Beth England. She is not getting any minutes or hardly any minutes at Chelsea. And she's a little bit similar to Ellen. She's really gritty. She'll fight. That's what you want. Go and grab the ball and take it. Yeah. So. And that's just sort of off the top of my head, but yeah, we need to be more clinical in front of goal.
Yeah, you wouldn't like someone like Babajide. You wouldn't like someone like Oshuola from Barcelona, and she looked pretty tasty. You wouldn't like someone like I forgot her name now. The girl from France begins with B. Did it begin with B? The one who scored that cracking goal against England.
Oh yeah. No, it's gone. I can't. I know who you mean. She plays for PSG.
Yeah, it's
not really young.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Baltimore.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's. I don't mind. We just need another striker.
Just need one.
I don't know.
All right. Who else thinks we need a new striker? An additional striker? Jennie. So I'll bring Jennie in. What kind of striker do you want, Jennie?
I think we need somebody that's going to maybe link up with Ellen better, because at the minute all we seem to do is plank crosses in and hope that she's going to get on the end of it. And sometimes they're too high, or she's in the wrong position for the cross. I quite like Beth England. But there again, it just depends who's available come the end of the season, and who Gareth wants, because he's the manager at the end of the day. So,
Beth's only 26. Beth's only 26. Sorry, I was going to say Beth's only 26. She's 27 in June. So she's young enough. She's still got plenty of years ahead of her. And she's really, really experienced with the time at Chelsea.
She's still under contract at about 2024. So unless City are prepared to pay for her.
It's an odd situation there because she's gone from Player of the Year last season, and rightly so, to as Jude said, hardly playing at all, minute-wise in the WSL because of the strikers they've got at Chelsea.
Yeah.
But I can't see that Emma Hayes isn't going to want to sell. She's not going to say, "Oh, well, here you go, City. You're just behind us in the league. What you need is a striker. Here's Beth England." It's never going to happen, is it?
I mean, Frank Kirby's had a great season, hasn't she, this year? She's come back and she's been like a new signing, I think, for Chelsea.
So we'll sign what? Kirby. We'll sign Kirby, G, England, Harder, yeah, and then we'll be all right because that'll weaken them.
No, does anybody look around Europe and is there anybody you like? Because look, I mean, Chelsea went out and got Pernilla Harder from, was it Wolfsburg?
Well, I like what you said before, Ray, about Oshuala at Barcelona. I mean, she's the sort of player that I would imagine if she was at a top class side in the WSL, she would score some goals. She really would score some. Watching her against us, because once she's away, you ain't catching her.
Yeah.
If she had the right people in midfield feeding balls through to her, which we could have, I wouldn't mind seeing her given a chance.
She could be just right, couldn't she, for Lauren and Chloe either side.
Well, that's it. I think what you said before, Jenny, about someone up front with Ellen, we tend to not play two up front. So it'd be Lauren and Chloe with a striker in the middle. It tends to be what Gareth goes with, doesn't it? So you need someone who is happy to be a centre forward on their own. And Ellen's good at it, and she's good with her back to the goal and stuff like that. But it's nice to have other options. And I like someone who can just have something up her sleeve that's different, and certainly Oshuala falls into that category.
Well, Oshuala,
she's played in the WSL before, hasn't she?
She played for Liverpool and Arsenal.
I remember when she played for Liverpool. Liverpool were not the side they were when we were talking earlier about when they won the title. When they were on the way down, and she always gave our defenders a lot of problems. Even when we played Liverpool, I remember beating them once in the FA Cup, but she had a really good game, and she always stuck in my mind. And then that first leg against Barcelona, I just think if you had. You've got to have a quality midfield feeding someone like that. She's got it at Barcelona, but she would have it at City as well. So there's one. But again, we're talking about top players at top sides. You've got, are they going to want to leave?
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about her. Asisat Oshuala, 26 years old, from Nigeria. First woman from an African nation to compete in the top level in England. You're right, when she was at Liverpool, it was 2015. She joined in January 2015, and they were all obviously on the way down. They finished second bottom that season. Matt Beard, who's the manager at the time, he said she was one of the best young players in the world. Obviously she joined Liverpool because the previous two seasons they'd won it, 2013 and 2014. Yeah. But she missed two months of the season. She had a knee injury, but she still scored 3 goals in 9 games, which I think is decent for somebody in a new country and who's had an injury. Then she went to Arsenal. She had 11 games at Arsenal, only 2 goals, and then she went off to a club I've never heard of. I think it's a Chinese club, Dalian.
Yeah, that's right, it's Chinese.
Yeah, and then she a couple of years there, better than a goal a game. She came back to Barcelona. She went on loan to Barcelona, 7 goals in 7 games, and since then, she's been on fire for Barcelona. She's played 32 games, 33 goals. And I think, in our division, those are the kind of numbers you want. And we've all seen her play, and she's got, was it Dave said, once she's past you, you're not catching her. There's no chance. I don't know if there's anybody else can think of out there that they'd be interested in.
If you went down the youth route, you were saying before, Ebony Salmon, there's another quality striker for a young striker.
Yeah.
In particular, let's be honest, in a struggling side, Bristol are fighting to stay up. They might well do it. But she's got class and quality above her years as well. From what I've only seen clips and highlights. I don't see her every week.
Yeah.
You know, I only see what others see when I get to see her on the TV or at games against us. But she seems to have a composure and the knack of finishing that you can't teach. You know, that's natural for a striker that I think you need. I think she's got that. That could come down to whether Bristol stay up, of course.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think a few clubs in the Super League will be looking at her, even if Bristol do manage to stay up. She's only 20. She looks exciting. She's got a decent return for, like you say, a poor side at Bristol. She's got 11 goals in 29 games, and she's got hopefully a big future ahead of her. The other one that I mentioned was Babjide at Liverpool, who. I think the only worry is that's in a league below. So you know, with Liverpool not being good enough at the moment to be in the Super League, Rinsola Babjide, he's only 22 years old, but 23 this summer, and she's had she's got a bit of experience behind her. Another exciting talent, and I think didn't she get called up for England?
Yeah,
last call up. She's not scored a lot of goals. That's the only worry. At Liverpool, she's only scored. This is according to Wikipedia. Only scored 4 goals. That was last
young,
season.
though, isn't she? She's
sorry.
You know, she's young, and she'll get better at that. You know,
yeah, you'd like to think so. I mean, does anybody want a power striker who's big and strong and good in the air? Or do you think we need someone more with technical ability?
I just think we need somebody clinical.
Yeah.
When the balls come into him, they're a little bit maybe quicker at the decision making and a little bit more, I suppose, a little bit more technical, but just a little bit more clinical.
Yeah. Okay. And anything else that's going to help us step up next season? And we know Peter talked about it, and I think someone else mentioned it: the marginal gains or the small gains, because the difference between us winning the league and possibly the Conti Cup this season was simply Chelsea. And obviously we'd have to get better than them, because I can't see them going backwards with the squad they've got and the players they've got who are now gelling together as well. So what else do we have to do besides go out and buy players?
The biggest signings could be the ones the guys were talking about earlier. If we can secure Rose and we can secure Sam for another year, there's not much wrong with that side. There's not much wrong with our side there. And then obviously you add to that a further year's experience of playing together. That can only be good. But these are top class international footballers who, play at the highest level. These are World Cup winners, we're talking. 3 of them. If we build a side around that with our own experienced players such as Steph and Kira, who've been around a long time now as well themselves, and Demi and people like that, then you've got our exciting youngsters, Lauren, Chloe, Esme, people like that. You've got such a nice balance there as a squad. I think we've got everything we need. Now, that's not to say you don't always look to add to that, as we've been talking about with a striker and stuff. So they might well. The KB situation, is she going to come back or is she going to stay? He might want to look at another goalkeeper. I'm not sure what the goalkeeper situation is going to be. We all know Ellie's going to be number 1, but will he be happy to keep Benamura as number 2 and go with that? There'll be things to look at like that, and I'm sure Gareth's got all this playing around in his mind now already. I'm sure there'll be plans set up and set out already.
And we've got to remember it's Gareth Taylor's first season as well. He's exactly new to the job as well. So hopefully another year under his belt, he'll be more experienced and he'll hopefully be able to unlock the Chelsea door.
What do you think of his first season?
Sorry, who are you asking that to?
Any of you? What does everyone think of his first season? I think he's done really well.
I think he's had a really good season. Because like you say, he's had to get to know the team, and we've had a lot more signings than we've had in previous seasons. Obviously Lucy didn't know from when she was here before, but the other players they only know what they've seen when they've been watching her and sort of that sort of thing. But I think he's done well. I think he should be very proud that he's got the same sort of attitude that Nick Cushing has, and that is you don't give up. and we showed that on Wednesday night against Chelsea. You know, we could have dropped our heads when we were 2-1 down, and we didn't. We kept playing, and we kept searching, and that equaliser came. So, you know, I think he should be very proud.
And you've also got to remember, it's not only his first year managing our team, it's his first year in the WSL. It's his first year playing in the WSL league for the season. So maybe that's where, when you talk about, and like Peter was talking before about game management, maybe that's what he'll learn a little bit more as to, okay, well, this is how this team plays and this is what I can do here. Because, you know, it is slightly different than anything he's been used to before. So maybe that's where he'll make those little gains and he can make those little changes as he moves into the next season.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I've got to say, at the start of the season, I was a little bit disappointed with some of our performances and results. But because I was looking at it how we finished last season. You know, when we played Chelsea, we drew 3-3 at the CFA last season, and I still think we should have won that, or we could have won that and won the title. And I thought the team we had then was already very, very good, neck and neck with Chelsea. And I was hoping that the new players we'd got, Lucy coming back, and Alex and Sam and Rose and Chloe hit the ground running. I thought with them, which that would immediately take us to another level. I showed my naivety there and not considering all other factors. I just thought it was automatic. But I think he's come good towards the end of the season. We had a long winning run. In the league, was it 11 games or something before we played Chelsea? It was a long.
Yeah, I think
11 or 12.
Yeah, so you know we haven't done half bad, and with all the stats we've said before, you know, and there's no shame, there's no disrespect to coming second to let's be honest, a really, really good and strong Chelsea side who are still in Europe in the semi-finals, and you know everybody's looking at them and thinking, could they go all the way? You know, they really deserve to be where they are because they are a good team. So it's not, as I said, it's not an embarrassment to come second to them because we've done so well ourselves.
Sorry, go on, Jude.
So it's down to these fine margins, isn't it? I mean, I know there's still 2 games left to go. Anything can happen, but we've drawn 4 games. Chelsea have drawn 3 games. That's your difference. We were always going to click at some point. Like I said, so many new players coming in, new manager coming in, COVID conditions to deal with as well. You know, and we, most of the games that we drew were in that first half of the season. You know, but once we started to click, you know, they've been great. You know, I think they've had a good season. You know, everything that they've had to deal with. You know, we're still going to have Champions League football next year as well, so that's a key. We won the FA Cup. We're still in the FA Cup. You know, I think we just have to. Sometimes we have to sort of sit back and celebrate that. I mean, earlier in the season, there was a lot of people going Taylor out, and all that, and you just think, come on, you know,
you need to give him time.
Yeah, it's you know that didn't sit well with me, to be fair. And he's. I'd like to think that he's proving them wrong with the performance that we've had from the back end of last year right up to date.
Yeah,
I just think as well this season the lack of the fans in the different games, that could have played a huge part, because I think we get so behind the team at whether we're at home or away that I think it has an effect on them. The fact that there's nobody there singing them. Blandy's not there banging a drum.
Last question, can we still win the title? What have we got to do to win that title?
This season?
Yeah.
You mean this season? Right. This is what we've got to do, in my opinion, now. We've got 2 games to go. We've got to be really professional in these 2 games. We've got to win them both, and we've got to win them both really well. I think we're 5 goals worse off.
Yeah.
5? Right.
Yeah.
So we need to win these games. These are 2 winnable games, Birmingham and West Ham. Birmingham at home, West Ham. The West Ham Cup after that is equally important, but that's separate.
Yeah.
We'll worry about that when we get to it. Right. So we need to win these 2 games heavily, as highly as we can. We need to go at it. No taking the foot off the gas. None of this. Win them. Because could you imagine if Chelsea do slip up and we don't win?
Yeah.
We're going to be kicking ourselves. So we need to make sure we win these games heavily
don't win by enough
and get that goal difference up.
Yeah.
And we've had a great season. We've had a record-breaking season points. So I would argue we have stepped up a level. You know, we have gone up the level you were saying before, right? We have gone up a level from last season. You know, and then the step next season is to go up a level again and get there, and it'll be us pipping Chelsea, because I'm pretty sure we'll be the top two again.
Yeah,
I think pretty sure it'll be toe to toe again. So,
yeah, you're right. It would be a frustration if Chelsea were to drop a point somewhere, and we were to win our games, but be content winning them 2-0 or 3-0, and get picked on goal difference. For me, we've got to go out against Birmingham, go out quickly, go out hard, and basically try and wipe that goal difference out by half time. Even we need to be getting 3 or 4 goals by half time up. And if Chelsea aren't, I think they're playing Spurs a few days after that. Well, it would help. It would help if they were playing on the same day, because then there's pressure on them. You know, if you're at half time, and because Chelsea are playing, I think 2 or 3 days after. Because of the Champions League, they're not playing on the same day. But but if they were playing on the same time and we were 3-0 up after 20 minutes, let's say, and they were 0-0 away at Spurs at half time, then they know they're going to have to take some risks, because the draw's not good enough. Because if we end up winning 6, 7, or 8, and they draw, we'll leapfrog them, and so there's pressure on them to go out and take a risk to win the game, and they could end up losing it. You know, there's all sorts of things. But does anyone think we've still got a chance?
I do, because I mean, we don't know what Chelsea are going to do in the Champions League. You know, they could go all out for the Champions League. They could get injuries. You don't know. Somebody could get injured, and it just knocks them all out of kink.
But it's an interesting point. And all the way through the season, Jennie, you've been telling me we can still do this. We can still catch them up. We can still do this. The interesting thing would be, so they've got Champions League tomorrow. Yeah. Is it tomorrow? Yeah. And then they've got that Spurs game, and it would be interesting just to see what happens in that Spurs game. And as I said, it's a shame it's not at the weekend when we're playing.
When did they play Spurs? Did they play them in between the 2 Champions League legs?
I don't think so. Is it? I was looking at this earlier on. And I know I just knew it was on the Wednesday. That was all. That's all I saw. I
think they play the Champions League this weekend and next weekend, and then they play Tottenham.
And then they play Spurs.
Midweek after.
They play Spurs after that.
You would obviously fancy Chelsea to win that, but you know, you never know. You never know in football, do you? We've got to all we can do is win our games and win them heavily, and see what that does for us, just in case.
I believe till it's mathematically no chance. So
you know, that's right. You've got to do that in football, haven't you? This is what we've all talked about this week. We talked about level playing fields and competitiveness, and that's what this is about. That's why this is such a great league.
Yeah, it's a fabulous league, and as I said earlier, considering people were talking about us being out of it, you know, in November, which was daft. I think we've shown great fortitude, resilience, and determination, and grit to get where we are. And you know, if you'd asked us back then, there's 2 games to go, you're neck and neck with Chelsea, and you could still pip them, I think we'd have taken that. When it looked like we were, going to be miles behind, and we would be fighting for 3rd. So I think overall, you've got to look at it. Even though we might not win many pots this season, it's still been a decent season. And as long as that, as Dave said, the progression is upwards, and we get a little bit better next season, I think that's what all we can ask for.
We only lost the league last season down to a technicality.
Yeah.
So we have got better this season than last. But yeah, you just don't know what the Champions League game might take out of Chelsea. Because we know Wolfsburg's can be quite an aggressive team.
Munich. They're playing Bayern Munich now.
Bayern Munich.
Yeah. Look, let's just hope they have 2 tough games. They have 2 tough games, and
I'm sure they will.
They will, but I mean, it's not going to be easy at the semi-final stage, and we just got to keep our fingers crossed that we do. Look, all we can do is do our stuff and then see what happens. Definitely. And if it works in our favour, if it works in our favour, it'd be fantastic. guys, an hour has whizzed past. Really enjoyed your company tonight. It's been fantastic. And hopefully we might do something again once the season's finished, and have another little review just to see, because you never know, we might nick it, and then we can all do
champion special.
Sorry, yeah, that's what I want. I want a champion special. People have to come. No, if we do win it, we all have to dance.
Right. Well, Jennie can lead us. Jennie's been saying it from the start. So
yeah.
Right, there you go.
Jennie's been the one who says we're going to win it. So if we do,
even when people were shouting Taylor out, I was still saying no, we can do it.
Well, as Dave says, if we do it, Jennie, you're the first one who's dancing, and we'll all follow your lead.
If we do it, I will be dancing.
Oh well.
Finally, thanks to Renza for joining us, who says, "Come on, you Blues." Come on, you Blues. And thanks again, guys. And I hope you all have a very good evening and see you around soon.